Hello, salut, buongiorno, and welcome to the first official episode of the Traveler's Haven podcast series, where we will be looking at all things true travel professionals need to know. My name is Sam, and I'll be the host for today and every other day moving forward. For today, I figured it'd be best if we started with one of the most fundamental yet important distinctions that a lot of people remain unaware of. A distinction that is integral for all the topics that we will be covering moving forward. What exactly is a travel nurse? Now, there are many kinds of jobs that can be classified as travel professionals, and travel nurse houses work to suit all those different varieties. But travel nurses are important in a very unique way, helping in cases where really only they can. In spite of this, I've seen a lot of misunderstandings by many people in terms of what they do and who they are. So in today's episode, we'll be doing a deep dive into all aspects of travel nurses, what they do, how they do it, and why it's important they do it. Let's start with the basics. What is a travel nurse? What's exactly what the name implies? It's a nurse that travels. See, unlike nurses that work in the same place for however long that they work there, a travel nurse works temporary positions across various locations. See, these assignments are not uniform in length, however. They can be as short as 2 weeks or as long as 6 months. See, even the facility that they work at is up to the assignment. On one assignment, a travel nurse might be working in a hospital in Ontario, and then on another, they might be working long-term care in Alberta. Each assignment is different and will require the nurse to take on different responsibilities. You may also be wondering, how would an RN of Ontario practice in somewhere like Alberta? Wouldn't the licensing be completely different? That's a very valid question. Nursing licensure in Canada is province-specific, and the scope of practice and regulations can differ significantly from province to province. In most cases, travel nurses only operate within the province that their license allows. However, developments across Canada have begun to try and expedite the licensing process to try and help address the nursing shortages. An example of this would be Ontario's As of Right exemption that allows specific healthcare workers, nurses included, to practice for up to 6 months while they complete and process their registration applications. Most, if not all, travel nurses go through recruiting agencies to help set up these assignments. Goodwill Staffing, for example, is an agency that works with nurses all throughout the process to make sure that they find a fitting assignment with appropriate arrangements, and with no problems during their work period. The recruiters and nurses discuss any accommodations or preferences that they will need to meet, and once an opening is found, applications are sent out. This is also the step in the process that we, travel nurse houses, come in. In order to sidestep the difficulties of finding living accommodations, recruiting agencies will work with housing sites like our own to find easy fits for a travel nurse's needs. The diverse range across Canada that our listings cover is helpful in finding a safe and comfortable living situation even in the most remote locations. It is also only with the help of our contributing homeowners that we can continue to provide travel professionals the support that they need to succeed. But why? Why have nurses travel all across the country, taking on different roles rather than just taking permanent positions? There are actually a couple good reasons. See, travel nurses actually greatly help mitigate staffing shortages, especially in remote areas. A rural town, for example, that doesn't have enough nurses locally, will be given the support they need by having a travel nurse remain in the area during busy seasons, like flu season. And high-traffic facilities in bigger cities are helped in the same way, with the extra pair of hands coming as a relief among what can only feel like an endless stream of patients. Another good advantage is how travel nurses have helped combat burnout across the field. A 2024 study led by BMC Public Health showed that following the pandemic, 75% of nurses experienced varying levels of burnout. Among these nurses, the burnout rate seemed to be more prevalent in staff nurses of over 10 years without redeployment. This is where travel nurses come in. Assignment-based work can help against the monotony that staff nurses may experience. The ability to travel allows nurses to get more out of their work outside of their duties. Keeping things fresh and exciting is integral for keeping away burnout. The opportunity to be a travel nurse helps exactly with that. Lastly, and maybe the most unexpected benefit, is the way that travel nursing can help promote growth in local rental markets. This might be something that few people consider, but the reoccurring rentals need for each working period can help property owners keep a consistent schedule of renting. In a market plagued with unpredictability, property owners can rely and plan upon travel nurse assignments and redeployment for repeat rentals. Nurses with short-term assignments will have short-term rentals, which, in turn, will help local property owners gain on safe, furnished rentals while also satisfying the demand to resolve the staffing shortages. All that being said, there are some difficulties that may make it or break it for a good majority of people. A lot of nurses may find the long-term time away from home to be a significant drawback to the work. Depending on the location, it may be difficult to stay in contact with friends and family. If they have a partner, the distance and time away could be a demanding toll that could seriously affect their well-being. The same could be said for pets that are left at home. But in these cases, accommodations can be made so that the pets can travel alongside the nurse. Even so, it isn't uncommon for people to feel a strong sense of homesickness during their term. Goodwill Staffing, however, does help alleviate the feeling by assisting with travel arrangements for booked off time and holidays. Triple adjusting to the changes is another issue some nurses experience. Although staffing agencies try to give a high degree of flexibility to nurses in what assignments they take, sometimes the change of locale doesn't meet their expectations. When it comes to travel, it's important to remember how different places can be, and that it may take some effort to adapt to some of the conditions that we normally take for granted. This is doubly true for travel nurses that may also be struggling with the change in facility policies from differing assignments. Understanding these problems is a crucial step for nurses that are thinking about changing to travel nursing. On that note, let's look at some of the unique positives that come with being a travel nurse. Like, obviously, travel. It goes without saying, but the ability to travel to new places would be a great opportunity. There are negatives that come with travel, like we already touched on, but for those that don't like being in one place for too long, or that thrive on the chance to experience new things, being a travel nurse is an opportunity that shouldn't be overlooked. This is especially true for anyone who has been nursing for long periods of time and feels like their job has gotten too repetitive or mundane. What better way to spice things up than experiencing a completely new side of life? While there are a good majority of people out there that would fear the obligation to have to make new friends and live a new life, there are also some that would find the chance fulfilling. Just like outside of travel nursing, traveling is just an overall freeing experience, and getting to do it as part of your work has at least some merit to it for a bunch of people out there. Salary is also a massive reason to consider the field. When compared directly to staff nurses, travel nurses usually see a considerably higher pay. While staff nurses are typically salaried employees with a consistently hourly wage or annual salary, their pay can vary depending on the facility, geographic location, and years of experience. On the other hand, travel nurses are often paid much higher hourly rates, with their compensation packages including bonuses, housing stipends, and other benefits to incentivize their mobility. Travel nursing is considered a more flexible option that offers higher pay in exchange for the temporary and sometimes unpredictable nature of assignments. For example, a travel nurse may earn 20 to 30% more per hour than a staff nurse in the same region due to the added flexibility and short-term commitment required for travel positions. So now we ask the important question: is travel nursing right for you? If you are someone who is or aspires to be a nurse, then should you consider taking on the opportunity? It can be a serious undertaking, which is why more experienced registered nurses are considered more favorably over less experienced ones. The fast-paced learning environment that a nurse will be thrown into calls for a solid understanding of the basic rules that comes with years of training. Not to mention the differences between each hospital, which an experienced nurse would be better suited to handle. Usually, a nurse is recommended to have at least 10 years of experience before making the switch, but there are other factors that are considered. A background in critical care is highly valued, as it proves a nurse is capable of keeping up in high-stress situations while also keeping a cool head. This is all to say that a less experienced nurse can still be a travel nurse, but a recruiter might want to make sure that the person exhibits the right qualities beforehand. Like we've already touched on, there are some aspects of being a travel nurse that might be challenging for certain people. Certain qualities are definitely more beneficial to have than others in a changing field such as this. People that consider themselves highly adaptable and flexible are perfect for reducing the stress of integrating into their new environment. In turn, people that find it difficult to work without structure or that really depend upon a routine might not enjoy travel nursing. A sense of adventure and curiosity should be driving forces behind the excitement to travel and can ease the pressures that come with it. Compassion and patience are assets that don't just help you as a staff nurse, but also as a nurse dealing with patients across the country with a plethora of potential communication issues that may arise. In that vein, any nurse that is fluent in many languages should consider switching to travel nursing, as it can be a significant advantage. In many healthcare settings, especially in diverse communities, being able to communicate effectively with patients in their preferred language can improve the quality of care. Travel nurses often work in different regions, and in some, if not most areas, have large populations that speak languages other than English. A bilingual nurse can bridge the communication gap, reduce misunderstandings, and build stronger rapport with patients, which leads to a better patient outcome entirely. Additionally, hospitals and healthcare facilities may be more inclined to hire a travel nurse who speaks multiple languages, as it allows them to serve a wider range of patients, making a bilingual nurse an invaluable asset in a variety of situations. Ultimately, all of these factors should be considered before transitioning into travel nursing. If any listeners are feeling stuck with the decision, I recommend bringing your uncertainties to our Goodwill Staffing recruiters, as their expertise on the subject will be more than enough to help you make up your mind on the matter. And with that, I will call it for today. Like I said in the beginning, today's episode was just to clarify the basics, but we have so much more planned for all different types of travel professionals, so be on the lookout. I've been Sam, this has been Traveler's Haven, and I wish all you safe travels.